Hello, good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome. So tonight, you guys, I'm going to share with you some things that are going on in the early days of the legislature getting started here in Raleigh, where I am. But I'm also going to discuss some things that are in the national news, focusing on North Carolina culture and not in a good way. So, hello. Um, so first of all, let's start out with this. Critics, usually from on the left, generally ask me in particular and us here at EFA, hey, why is it that we need legislation to protect children from being sexualized in the classroom? Behold this next video.
Today, I wanted to introduce you to a new friend in our class. Well, this, Huckleberries, is my friend Nash. It's their first day in our class. They're just looking around at all of you, and they're so curious to know who you all are. Today was fun. It was really interesting, though, knowing going in, being like, I don't know what questions kiddos are going to have or what they're going to say, which is both like nerve-wracking, but also kind of exciting. It's that place of not knowing as a teacher and just being okay with that. And the friend likes to ask the question, are you a boy or a girl? And Nash answers, I'm just a kid.
But kids can be boys or
They can be boys or girls.
they.
Yeah.
Or maybe non-binary.
Yeah.
It was just like non-binary, yeah. That's just something that we know. And this is something, I mean, it's like they're 4 and 5 years old and they just didn't make a big deal out of being a boy or a girl.
And I think it was a huge testament to how much we've been talking about it in the classroom that you never mentioned the term non-binary. It was a child who brought that up because it's constantly in conversation.
Yeah, just like me. So Nash, just like me, is non-binary. So they aren't sure if they're a boy or a girl. So when people ask them, are you a boy or a girl? Right now they just feel like saying, I'm a kid. They're figuring it out.
Why does he like stars?
They like stars.
They like stars.
Yeah. And they are
why did
really...
he wear a star shirt?
They wore their star shirt because it's their favorite shirt. And because they were nervous today, they thought they would wear something that makes them feel special.
So somewhere about September, October, the parental rights bill that would have kept this garbage out of from K to 3. That bill didn't even come up on the floor for a vote, you guys. The Senate passed it. It was great. Senator Mike Lee was the team that led that, putting that forward. Didn't even make it up for a floor vote last year. Clearly, we need to go not from K to 3, but pre-K to 3, because now we know that government officials here in North Carolina, yes, government officials want sexualization between preschool, we already know there was CRT in that, all the way up, of course, till 12. I say that officials want that because they're doing nothing to stop it at the Department of Public Instruction, in various school districts, and the General Assembly also. So it's just going on. Now, we've been asked also, Sloan, why are you guys at EFA so wrapped up in this stopping of the child mutilization and sexualization and castration, if we're being frank, and sterilization? Well, I'll present to you this picture. Okay, this is shared by Moms for Liberty Chair Brooke Weiss out of Charlotte. So not something that we like to share and talk about, something that's going on. This is just one clinic here in North Carolina. This is the just a clinic in Charlotte, the Charlotte Levine's Children's Hospital. does these sort of procedures. You see a healthy 14-year-old here on my left, breast sliced off. Another 14-year-old on the right. These are children. They are not even of the age of consent. So as clinics in Europe are closing, most notably Tavistock Clinic in the UK, Sweden, these clinics are closing. This is a practice that's been done to children now in Europe for almost 10 years. Now the effects of thousands of children being mentally and physically maimed, now that that's becoming present, these clinics are shutting down right as North Carolina is ramping up. So we've got a full, we're in North Carolina, we're selling the hot dog and the bun. So we're grooming these children from pre-K up to be confused about their gender. And then as soon as possible, places like Charlotte Levine's Hospital, Duke Hospital, which is the pinnacle of this in North Carolina, the first child sex change clinic in North Carolina. Now we've got ECU on the scene, giving these horrible cross-sex hormones and puberty blockers. And get this, at ECU, they are advertising for these services actually in the school. So, as I said, last year, some legislation was blocked somewhere along the way. And now that the General Assembly is in session, just got in session, the priority for Senator Phil Berger, who's the speaker over there in the Senate, is Medicaid expansion. That's right. The pictures you saw, that's red alert. That's not the priority. It's Medicaid expansion. And here's a terrible fact. In North Carolina, Medicaid pays for puberty blockers. It pays for cross-sex hormones, which we know cause sterilization. It also causes things like severe depression, bone density problems, cancer. All kind of problems are linked. So Medicaid pays for the sex change operations, and it pays for the powerful drugs that are used to chemically castrate and sterilize children. Also, our state health plan covers that. So if, let's say, there's a teacher who has two children, well, the teacher can get these procedures and these drugs for her children. So in North Carolina, we do have a healthcare problem, but it ain't Medicaid. It's this. This is the time. This is the time to pass legislation. This isn't a Republican thing. There are Democrats who also favor these things. Look, this weekend, the New York Times actually printed a story about very concerned parents because their children were being sexualized at school behind the backs of the parents. Presents a lot of problems. Parental rights are at stake, and very liberal parents are starting to sue school districts over this, and it's about time. Moreover, liberal parents are very concerned about putting their children on drugs that they'll have to be on for the rest of their lives that will do incredible damage to their bodies. This is barbary. This should be outlawed. And I want every single one of you to put pressure on your senators, because I think in the Senate, there's some sort of wires crossed about what the priority is. Also on the House side, we need to put pressure on the Health Committee, the HHS Committee, and with your local reps. So that's what's going on. We're going to be staying on this. The number one priority this year for Education First Alliance is getting two pieces of legislation passed. One that would outlaw sexualizing children. Our preference now is pre-K to 6. Now, I know that a lot of folks believe that pre-K to 12 for sexualizing children, that would be the penultimate, but we will settle the lowest bar pre-K to 6. That means social emotional learning, gone. Gone. We don't need it. It's the parent's role to instill identity in the child. It needs to be gone. Second piece of legislation, we have got to outlaw giving these drugs to children. We have got to do that. And of course, it goes without saying, sex change surgeries. In what world are we allowing doctors to take a healthy child of 12 or 14 and chop their breasts off? And that practice is ramping up here in North Carolina with no end in sight. So again, guys, we've got to put pressure on the legislature. You can count on us to give you weekly reports of what has gone on, what needs to go on, and what ain't going on. And we will name names as we always do. So thank you for tuning in. Share this video. We've got to get people all on the same page on this. Have a great night.